Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. My name is Brian Engelman, and this is the Agree to Disagree show. Today, we're going to talk about Kimberly Cheatle. What's the latest with that one? She resigned. That's the quick news update. She resigned. I'm going to peel back the layers of the onion, because that's not the story. There's other components to this story. We're going to talk about Joe Biden. Is he okay? Has he given a proof of life? You heard a phone call, but was that him? And if it was him, when was it recorded? It's pretty generic. And when people started clapping during his call, he didn't pause to let them finish as if it were pre-recorded. We saw a video of Joe Biden walking up the stairs to an airplane. Was that him? We don't believe anything happening anymore. Yeah, that's what the new American media is. We're looking at all of the proven propagandists, the known liars, the agitators, the real insurrectionists. We look at the deep state Democrat media, and we know what we can't believe. So we're going to unpack what we think we know. And we encourage you to participate in the program today. Please leave your comments. Let me go ahead and toss those up on the board. How do we do the overlay? There we are. Double overlay. There we go. So leave your comments. Please click like and subscribe. We definitely need your support in all of the places. Search the Agree to Disagree show and the New American Media. We definitely want you to participate in our daily coverage of the news. I mean, from the minute the day begins, it's going through the news and trying to figure out what's happening. And there's a lot of weird stuff out there. Misinformation, disinformation, straight out lies. I don't know how lies are different from misinformation. There's that famous quote that says, if you don't listen to the news, you're uninformed. If you do listen to the news, you are misinformed. I really like that. I've always really liked that. And it's never been more true than it is now. I grew up in a world thinking that the who, what, where, when, why, people just kind of told the stories. They told the truth, and that there's so many of them, even though back in the day, you think there were only, if you can think all the way back to pre-cable days, we're not even talking pre-podcast days, because there's been a few mile markers in the media landscape, obviously. If you go back to, I don't know, where do you want to go? 30s, 40s, 50s? I mean, families would gather around that big device. You had a radio people would listen to. Then you had the television. And on that television, you had a couple of channels. Off the top of my head, I don't recall exactly which channels came first. NBC, ABC, CBS. Of course, Fox is kind of mistakenly given credit as being the conservative or libertarian voice out there in the media landscape. And, to some degree they are, but, when you settle lawsuits and throw your own people under the bus to the tune of close to, what was it, $700 billion or million, billions and millions and trillions, it's tough to keep track. But yeah, when Fox threw their own reporters under the bus and said, oh, our reporters didn't really believe that the 2020 election was stolen. So yeah, we'd like to lose this lawsuit and pay a bunch of money. You go, I'm sorry, what? And then they fire Tucker Carlson. You're like, he's the number one voice. Are you kidding me? Point being that Fox has been compromised. Fox has lost the plot. Fox is not your friend. And you should have known that when Chris Wallace repeated the Fine People hoax during the 2020 debate and ran cover for the obvious lie of the 51 former, you're not a former intelligence official, the intelligence officials who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. Some reports say there's about 500, 600 obvious crimes on that laptop. There's the money laundering. There's all the blackmail opportunity there. It's breathtaking how far Fox has fallen. And they do get some things right, but anyway, the point of this is back in the day, you only had a couple of radio stations. Back in the day, you only had a couple of television stations. You had a couple of newspapers of record. The reason I brought up Fox is just thinking like in the 90s, mid 90s, I believe that was when, Ted Turner kind of came in with CNN, Fox kind of came in. That was the Rush Limbaugh era, the Bill Clinton era of news dissemination. But I used to think when you turned on the main channels, just typed a comment. Maybe we'll scroll through it because today we're going to scroll through our X feed. Please take 1 second out of your life right now. Click on your X app and follow us. We are at what are we? We are at American_media_. At American_media_. X has quickly become a favorite platform. Definitely working on setting up some subscriptions over there. I guess that works like a Patreon. I would love to get that squared away immediately because every time we go to DC to cover the Libertarian Convention where President Trump spoke, along with Vivek Ramaswamy and RFK Jr., go find these videos. They're all on our social media as well. When we went to the Bronx to cover President Trump's rally and speech there and had the wonderful opportunity to report on the scene for Real America's Voice and jumped on to Jack Posobiec's show and the show following them. I don't know the name of that show. There were 3 wonderful ladies. And then they used several clips on the intro for Bannon's broadcast later in the day prior to him getting arrested. Of course, we went to the Republican convention in Milwaukee last week. But the point is, every time the New American Media goes to these locations, it's like this. I talked to my buddy Nick. God, this had to be a decade ago, 15 years ago. I need to reach out I haven't talked to him in a while. I know they moved, but definitely fell off. He said going to the shooting range, every time you pull the trigger, it's like going blink, blink, blink. Every time it makes a noise when it hits the target, it's like you're throwing a 50-cent piece away or you're throwing $1 away. Blink, dollar, blink, dollar, blink, dollar. So every time we go on the road, we'll see about Chicago. Haven't made firm plans on that one yet. Of course, we were denied press credentials for that one, although we were officially licensed in 2016 for the Republican convention. And you can find all that footage on our YouTube channel, where we have 1,500 videos over the past 13 years, a couple million views, some bangers on there. But yeah, every time we go, it's like blink, $1,000, blink, $1,000. Like, oh, how are you? Well, when the hotel rooms are $300 a night, I mean, you're at $1,000 before you even start with gasoline, with the tolls, and man, going up to Milwaukee, everything's a toll. So we'll see what comes in the mail. All these, I need $7, I need $5, I need $13. I was looking at the prices of these tolls. I'm like, why are we already pay for the roads. We already pay for this with the taxes on the gas. What are we doing? Why are there toll roads in 2024? Number one, it's because they can get away with it. Day one, if I'm elected president, we get rid of toll roads. Enough. No easy passes, none of this crap. Just open it up. Come on. What are we doing here? Anyway. But yes, if you'd like to support us, please consider doing so. We will set up subscriptions on X. I guess we had to change our settings. It didn't show that we were 18 years old, and that was like the only holdup. We only became verified a week or two ago. Was that because Elon took away my analytic ability so I couldn't see the stats on how the channel was performing? Partially. Is that because Elon took away the ability to broadcast via Restream, as I'm finding you today? Perhaps, possibly. And also, God bless the man. Think back to 4 years ago. Just think back to 4 years ago when we weren't allowed to talk about anything medical, anything political. You weren't allowed to have any thoughts that weren't crazy. If you're on the Marxist left with these radical ideas, you weren't just allowed to talk, you were featured. And so at some point, it was like, well, why am I even bothering to create content? If YouTube won't let us show it to anybody, if they're just going to delete it and claim some sort of strike, what's the point? Well, the point is now we have Rumble. Subscribe to our Rumble page, please. The New American Media. We're getting more views, way more views on Rumble with 81 subscribers than we are on YouTube with 13 years of content, 1,500 videos, and 6,400 subscribers. Make that make sense. Well, they've been rigging it. Just like they've been rigging effing everything. Look at what Kamala just did. Look at what the Democratic Party just did. They just staged a coup to overthrow Biden. They rigged their primaries. Again, third primary in a row, they rigged their primaries. 3 in a row. 3. We must protect democracy. I'm telling you, somewhere near north of 80% of the time that Democrats push a message, they're lying about it. They're projecting it because it's what they are doing themselves. So they accuse their opponent of it. It is breathtaking how stupid they think you are. And I don't think you are that stupid. Yes, sometimes I do. Sometimes I get frustrated. Sometimes I can't understand how so many people are drinking the Kool-Aid on Crazyville. I don't get it. But then there's another part of me that says, I don't think, when you look at the map, for example, the county map of the United States, red and blue, it's all red. There are little pockets of blue in the big cities. New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philly, here, there, peppered in. I am not convinced after going to the Bronx and interviewing person after person. And by the way, I do intend to put up more of the Man on the Street compilations and more of the videos from when we were in the Bronx. It's just, it has been a busy month. And here at the New American Media, we are a team of one. A team of one. I definitely intend to change that. But you know that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's playing baseball and he's on the pitcher's mound, he winds up and he throws, then he runs down and then he takes a swing and hits the ball, then he runs into the outfield and he catches the ball, then he throws the ball to the catcher who tags himself out at third base. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I'm not saying that to whine. I'm not saying that to look for pity. I'm just saying it because it's the reality. Plus, there's all the other life things going on that take up time. So it's been challenging, but I do intend to get you those videos and put those up because they are very interesting. And my point being, when I went to the Bronx and interviewed these people and I relayed what they were saying on to Jack Posobiec, that really was cool. I did enjoy my experience there. But these people, they see what's happening. They're like, illegal aliens have invaded our country and they're in our streets. They're blocking our roads. There's trash everywhere. There's crime everywhere. They're being given thousands of dollars in a free 4-star hotel right here. They're assaulting people. They're robbing people. They're raping people. What in the world is Biden and the Democrat? What are Biden and the Democrats doing? We need to just stop saying Biden. It's the Democrats. Harris did the same thing. We'll do the same thing. These people are saying the inflation is out of control. I go to the bodega with $40. I can barely get I barely get a bag of anything. One bag, a plastic bag with a couple things. They're like, everything's triple. What is being done to help us? You're helping people that broke in the back door of our country from God knows where, with God knows what intentions, with God knows what criminal background. Nobody's been screened. From the Democrats, the same ones who said everyone must be tested for COVID. You cannot be in the military unless you take this vaccine. Oh, okay. but you'll let 30 million people sneak into the country unchecked. A special designated line at airports for illegals without identification only. Here you go. Here's the red carpet we're going to lay out to put you into whatever city you want to potentially stage sleeper cells ready to activate at a moment's notice. Folks, we are in the strangest of times. Look at the events of the past week and a half, which I'm going to recap here coming up. I'm going to pull up our X feed and scroll through the news of the day. But I don't think the people in the Bronx do vote Democrat. I don't think so. I don't think the people in California do. I know California's not a city, but I don't think anybody does. I really don't. I do not think there are massive numbers of people. Oh, we're a 50-50 country. Half the country's Democrat, half the country's Republican. No, they are not. The Democrat Party has completely lost the consent of the governed. The Democrat Party has done more to damage our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, our civil liberties, our standing in the world, the value of our dollar. Go down the damn list and tell us one good thing the Democrats have done. Lord help me if you're going to say killing babies is so cool. God bless the Democrats. They help us kill our children. I'm fairly libertarian on the topic. Everybody has to make their own choice. But other than that one issue, is there a single thing the Democrats actually stand for that provide you with freedom and liberty and respect and prosperity and safety? No. So I don't think we're a close country. I don't think it's 50-50. I don't think the ballots that are being counted in these big cities, I don't think it's reliable. Well, maybe it is. But I'm allowed to think what I think. By the way, right there at the bottom of the screen, go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they want you to believe that 2020 was the only election in the history of elections that was completely fair and accurate. I don't know how they came to that conclusion with all the drop boxes that were unmonitored. All of the ballots that were not individually numbered and identified with watermarks. I could go down the laundry list of things that don't add up, but cisa.gov/rumor control, they want you to know that countervailing views exist compared to what I'm telling you, which is suspicion, which is, am I going to believe my lying eyes? Or just accept the propaganda that's being fed to me? So, once again, please click like and subscribe here on the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media because the old American media has failed you. Leave your comments. We are going to get into the news. Let's pull up our X feed. Once again, follow us at American_media_. And we're going to walk you through some of the most important stories that are developing today. Here we go. Let's pull this up. Yes, in Milwaukee, we had a sit down with Gateway pundits Jim Hoft discussing election rigging and the Trump assassination attempt and J.D. Vance's selection and more at a super cool place that was all if you see all that artwork on the wall, it's like it's called Safe House. And it's all about spies from the Cold War era, Russians and United States. It's all spy paraphernalia and secret rooms and magic tricks and food and drinks. And it was awesome. Had a great time. Definitely appreciate Jim taking a few moments to talk. Check out that interview. And here, of course, is our live feed. All right, so let's take a listen to this. This is Chucky Schumer. Chucky Schumer talks about the deep state saying they have 5 ways from Sunday from getting you to blah, blah, blah. Hence he said, I've been threatened or blackmailed successfully, and I now work for whoever they are, whoever they report to. They sure as hell don't report to the American people.
So now that the process is played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't do it. So now that
Oh, that is excellent. Wow. Yeah. I guess we should expect the cringe level on Democrats to be elevated at this point. Now they're taking their cues from Kamala, allegedly. That was his own please clap moment from Jeb Bush. Remember, please clap?
I'm clapping. You don't have to.
Wow. Florida now won, says Schumer on Kamala. The process is played out from the grassroots to the bottom up. What is this guy smoking? It was a coup right before our eyes. And then the crowd stiffs him. How awkward. What a little weasel. This weasel. Yeah, buddy. The weasel. All right, George here puts out his thoughts saying, in the next few days, weeks, and months, you'll watch pollsters start artificially pumping Kamala Harris's numbers to make it appear like she can win the election. If you wondered why the fake poll showed Biden losing, it was because they wanted to pressure him to drop out. See, Joe, everyone knows you'll lose, and we won't cheat for you. They want to program the masses ahead of time to accept the results if Kamala Harris wins. The reality is she's the most disliked vice president in history and will lose by a historic margin. It's a big optical illusion. I hope everyone sees it now. She is the most unliked vice president ever. I mean, Gore was boring and goofy, but I mean, Cheney shot a guy. I really disliked Mike Pence when it came down to it, when we needed him the most. Where did he go? Cotton Eye Joe. But yeah, Kamala Harris, nobody likes her. You're going to see a lot of people pretending. Oh, saw Michael Steele pretending. Michael Steele, the former head of the RNC. Maybe we'll see that at the bottom here. I was texting him back, but then maybe something changed. I didn't send the tweet. We interviewed him in 2016, and I would like to put an interview request out to talk with him. Not that he'll take it, but he did take the time originally to talk with me. He was pretty against Trump in 2016, as I recall that conversation going. Here's an interesting program note. One of the things we are intending to do, number one, is that we intend to do daily broadcasts now instead of our regular Tuesday, Thursday show. We want to talk every day. Another thing we intend to do is get more of our guests on the program. That used to be the cornerstone of the Agree to Disagree show, was getting interesting interviews with people to kind of unpack their personal stories and understand the news as we break it down together and discuss it. Haven't been doing that much. It's pretty much been Blake and I, Blake Wally, follow him on X at TV's Blake Wally, or myself. We did several months with Stephanie. That was nice, having 3 people in the studio. That was fun. But we're going to start reaching out to bring more people in. And one of those people, once again, someone we spoke with, I don't think it was 2016 at the RNC, and I apologize. Some of these events do start to blur together. I think it was at the 2017 Politicon or 2018 Politicon, political convention in Los Angeles. We talked with comedian, radio host, I think author, John Fugelsang. And, you know, we weren't coming from the same place, but we had a conversation. The show's called Agree to Disagree Show. Like, let's talk. Like, okay. I don't spend a lot of my time talking to people that are on the other side. At some point, you just say, look, I can't spend all my energy trying to wake people up. I'm going to try to convince you to throw away your currently held belief based on the lies that your lying legacy media have indoctrinated you with. I don't know how to break that spell. It's kind of pointless to try. And let me elaborate. Maybe it's pointless to expend too much energy attempting to educate and illuminate people who are adrift, who are lost, who have suffered brain damage at the hands of the propagandist liars who have put so much division and hatred into their heads, they can't see clearly, they can't think clearly, they can't articulate clearly. So I just don't spend a ton of time doing that. Now, the original purpose of the Agree to Disagree show was, look, let's agree to disagree. Let's have uncomfortable conversations. But let's talk and let's be mostly civil during the process. Instead, a lot of our programs have turned into the Agree to Agree show. By the way, speaking of shows, check out yesterday's program. We did a 3-hour banger, and we went through post after post, video clip after video clip, meme after meme, really interesting insight and comments. And I blinked and the show went north of 3 hours. But man, we uncovered a lot of stuff yesterday. A lot of things connected to today's program we could have covered today, but we covered last evening. So if you missed yesterday's program, it is definitely worth checking out. A lot of important information. But anyway, what I was getting at is that John Fugelsang tweeted something. He X'd out something, and I said, what an awful take. And I tagged Blake. I go, hey, remember when we interviewed this guy at the Politicon? And then John responded like, what's awful about this? I think blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, okay. Instead of being limited to, 160, 180 characters? I said, maybe you could join us on the Agree to Disagree show and we can kind of unpack this a little bit more in depth. There's only so much you can achieve by launching a Molotov cocktail over the fence. And then you wait. And then you wait for somebody to launch another Molotov cocktail over their side of the fence, and then it hits. Then you put one together, then you launch it up. It's like, okay, let's just talk in real time. Let's play tennis. And he said, that sounds fantastic. I believe something along those lines. And he said, next week could work for that. So maybe Tuesday, maybe Thursday, next week, bring in John Fugelsang. I know he has his show, syndicated show on Sirius. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, keep your eyes peeled for some of that stuff to happen, because this is a sprint. This is a full-on sprint for the next 100 days. 100 days to change your life. 100 days to save your life. 100 days to save this nation. 100 days. What can you do? Another interview that we had last week was an interview with Scott Pressler. Please find that on our Rumble channel, The New American Media, and our YouTube channel, The New American Media, and Spotify, our podcast. The Agree to Disagree show is what that's listed as. Although I should probably just list it as The New American Media. I don't know if you can change it once you built it. But we talked with Scott Pressler, and he has been out there shaking hands, having conversations, asking people to consider voting for Trump specifically, asking people to consider leaving the Democrat Party because they've left you a long time ago. Actually, they were never with you. They had good producers, good Hollywood producers that made it seem like they were in your boat, but they never were. They were never in your boat. No doubt about that. And we talked with him in Milwaukee at the RNC. I called him the Energizer Bunny. How does he get the energy to I guess he flipped one of the most important counties now with voter registrations from Democrat to Republican right outside Philadelphia, or right in Philadelphia. I forget which county. We tweeted it out yesterday. But we got 100 days. Can you talk to a couple of your neighbors? Can you talk to a couple of your friends and family and ask them to consider, look, the deep state Democrat media lied to you about Joe Biden's health, his viability, his mental acuity. They lied to you about Russiagate. They lied to you about a Russian P-tape. They lied to you about Jussie Smollett. They lied to you about the Covington kid. They lied to you about Brett Kavanaugh. They lied to you about President saying you should drink bleach. They lied to you saying that President Trump said there were fine people on both sides, while omitting the one part that said, and I'm not talking about that awful group or that awful group, because I condemn those two completely. But this is an event about a statue, and there's some people that said, just keep it, and some people that said, no, take it down. And there were fine people on both sides of that. Not that awful group, and not that awful group. So I think a lot of the the vitriol, the venom coursing through the veins of the lefty, I think a lot of that is people who believed the liars who caused literal brain damage to these people by pumping them full of lies and hatred and division. Maybe a polite conversation, a gentle invitation, and maybe a light volley of, they lied about these 10 major stories because they're liars and they hate you. Can you consider joining us? Like we don't, it's not the same. So check out that video with Scott Pressler that we put up a couple of days ago as well. All right, right here, Mike Benz. Mike Benz doing good stuff. Really, Mike Benz just kind of came out of nowhere to become a household name, it seems. He says, this, to me, is currently the most important lead in the entire saga of the Trump assassination attempt. So he retweets Josh Hawley. Here we go. New. Whistleblowers tell me law enforcement personnel were, in fact, stationed to the roof the day of the Trump rally, but they abandoned it, citing the heat. Stationed to the roof, they abandoned it because of heat. They also say law enforcement were supposed to be patrolling the building, but opted to stay inside instead. Are you kidding me? Remember what Kimberly Cheatle said. She was asked about why wasn't there someone on the roof. She said, well, there's a slope. Look at the video we put out yesterday on that epic show that we did. I think we titled yesterday's show Unbidened by What Has Been instead of Unburdened by What Has Been. Kamala's wonky, clunky catchphrase that never took, and she repeated it 1,000 times, hoping it would. There's video showing the room where law enforcement officials were stationed. You look through the window, and it's like you could toss a beanbag onto the roof of the other house, of the other building. It's a flat roof. It comes to a very slight peak. It's a mostly flat roof. And to me, Cheatle, who said, oh, the roof was sloped, we couldn't have somebody there. What do they say? The cover-up will get you every time? That wasn't an answer. That was a lie. And a bad one. She would have been better off keeping her mouth shut. But we're lucky she spoke because that's so blatant of a lie. It feels obvious to me that she was in on this and that this was an intentional plot, not some accidental occurrence that may or may not have happened. Still searching for, was there a second shooter up on that water tower or inside of another one of those buildings? 57 minutes, they knew there was a suspicious dude, that something had happened, that someone might have breached, and they didn't keep Trump off the stage. They let him go. An hour later, 57 minutes later. It's just mind-boggling that anyone could believe this was just accidental or just a simple lapse. Oh, I don't know. I thought Jim had it. We were at the meeting. They said, all right, your team does this. And I thought they meant that. And I ended up doing this. And I really wish I would have been there. You're not hearing any of that. They're saying, oh, there was a sloped roof. Yeah, look at it. Look at that video we shared. There's no slope to it. Nothing significant. And by the way, sloped roofs, that's what all snipers have to deal with because roofs drain water. You're telling me they don't have a grappling hook thing that straps them in and they just lay a blanket down or something and they get comfortable up on that roof, something with a heat shield that keeps them from burning and cooking on the asphalt shingles. And they just lock in. They got a little prop that, pull up an armrest and up on a totally slanted roof, people would be fine. If the Secret Service are conquered by roofs, we got bigger problems. Anyway, Josh Hawley saying they abandoned where they were stationed because it was hot and they were supposed to patrol outside the building, but they stayed inside instead. I guess let me just read this for you. United States Senate, July 22nd. That's yesterday. Oh, what a weird. Yeah, I don't know about this, though. They address it to the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas. Alejandro Mayorkas is not honorable. I believe him to be a traitor, an obvious traitor. Dear Secretary Mayorkas, it's a little small here. Let's lean in. Since my last correspondence to you on July 19, additional whistleblowers have contacted my office with troubling information about the assassination attempt on former President Donald J. Trump. Contrary to Director Cheatle's public statements about the safety of the sloped roof of American Glass Research Building, 6, one whistleblower with direct knowledge of Secret Service planning for the event alleges that there was supposed to be a law enforcement presence on the roof that day. In fact, the whistleblower alleges that at least one individual was specifically assigned to the roof for the duration of the rally. Well, that's what you would expect because, duh. As AOC, by the way, give AOC her flowers today. She's like, hold on, the AR-15 is like the most popular gun in America. It has an effective range of 500 to 600 yards. This building was 130 yards away, a football field away, counting end zones, 120. A football field away, and you said that was not a part of your secure perimeter? Are you out of your mind? I don't think she said, are you out of your mind? But kudos to AOC for that one. I'm really happy. She's such a cartoon character. It's like, if they occasionally do something that's right, you just want to high five them or hug them and say, just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway. The whistleblower with direct knowledge of Secret Service planning for the event alleges that there was supposed to be a law enforcement presence on the roof that day. In fact, the whistleblower alleges that at least one individual was specifically assigned to the roof for the duration of the rally, but this person abandoned his or her post due to the hot weather. The whistleblower further alleges that safety concerns over the heat prompted law enforcement to forego patrolling Building 6 and instead to station security personnel inside the building. Are you kidding me? This sounds like, what was it? The Secret Service were told to move away from JFK's vehicle as it slowly made the turn in Dealey Plaza down in Dallas in, what was that, 1963? Specifically pulled off, specifically moved, specifically abandoned what they were supposed to be doing. Now we have two incredible coincidence. Yeah, well, of course we put somebody up on the roof, but they said it was too slopey or hot. What? So they can't do the job, won't do the job? What did they do when they reported back and said, well, hold on, Jim, what are you doing? Jim, you're up on the roof. Who's on the roof? Jim? Sorry, boss, I can't do it. It's too hot. It's too hot to stand around on the roof? Bro, you need another job. Patrol and protection is about being outside and moving around. And to hear that Cheatle still hasn't even been to the site. She's gone now. Well, for now. Anyway, I'll get to that when that topic comes up. Anyway, they're inside the building now. Additionally, I learned from a DHS official that Homeland Security Investigations has nearly completed a report on its personnel's involvement in providing security for the J13 rally. Please furnish a copy of this report to my office immediately. To inform ongoing investigations, please respond to the following questions no later than July 26. 1. If the whistleblower's allegations are accurate, when did the individual abandon the post? 2. Which law enforcement units were assigned to the roof? Please provide all security plans indicating which units were assigned to the roof and the building. 3. Did any law enforcement personnel fail to report to their assigned stations that day? I await your response. And they CC'd the Honorable Kimberly Cheatle. Once again, she is not honorable or competent. She's a liar who's either derelict in her duties, the most important duties you could imagine, or she's in on a plot. By the way, those security plans. Any law enforcement personnel that failed to report to their assigned stations that day? Because if so, you know what that means. Now there's another person in on it. I'll play this for you here. This is from Kyle Becker via Fox News. Let's take a listen here.
Secret Service security failures under a microscope on Capitol Hill again today. The House Homeland Security Committee is holding the second congressional hearing looking into the attempted assassination of former President Trump. But for today's hearing, heads of the Secret Service, FBI, and Homeland Security have all declined to testify. We are listening to it. We will bring you the news from it as it breaks. Secret Service security.
Okay, so Becker says the heads of the Secret Service, FBI, and Homeland Security have all declined to testify in the House on the shooting of former President Donald Trump. The Trump assassination plot cover-up continues. So this is where I once again make the call to the powers that be. Is it the military? Is it the sergeant at arms? Why has Kimberly Cheatle not been arrested, shuttled down to Guantanamo Bay, and been undergoing interrogation right now? This isn't about resigning. Oh, I dropped the ball. They threw me a good pass and I dropped it. It was a bad day. I'm never playing football again. I'm going to retire. No. This is like you gave the other team our playbook and our signal calls. Like you were an enemy behind the gates and you caused this. Those lines of questioning need to be occurring right now. That's just stunning. Secret Service heads, FBI, and Homeland Security all declined to testify. How is that optional? Why are you not arresting the people that are declining to testify? This is a plot. Is it a plot of one or a plot of many? Andy No tweets out, Kamala Harris is Jamaican. And by the way, we're going to bounce around to different topics and bounce back to ones. But the reason we're doing that is because this is how the timeline of our X feed looks. And yes, when Blake is a part of the show, we do try to keep things a little high and tight, a little more put together with all the stories in the exact spot. But hey, we're doing what we're doing. I am adapting to doing solo shows, and it's okay. I'm here for it. I'm all in for the next 100 days. Like, let's freaking go. Andy No says Kamala Harris's Jamaican ancestry comes from a wealthy Scots-Irish slave owner. As a politician, she has falsely rebranded herself as being relatable to Black Americans in the hood. Oh, they hate her, as they should. That rhymes. Here's something from from the Post-Millennial. There's a caravan of migrants heading to the U.S. border who fear Trump and hope to get in here before the election. Okay. Texas, you know what to do. Step up. Do more. Arizona, step up, do more. California, step up, do more. Not that they will, but I'm going to call on them to do it anyway. You know why? Because that makes sense. Here's a flashback to Kamala Harris talking to Jake Tapper. Let's see how she feels. She's our border czar, don't you know? Remember that? Kamala Harris, border czar. She is in charge of the border. The border is upon her. The results of the border, call it a border crisis, an intentionally planned invasion of illegal aliens. What does our border czar have to say about people trying to sneak into our country illegally?
Must be addressed.
The bill also says, quote, every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. Mm-hmm. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being.
What happened there? Okay, that was weird. Gave me like the refreshing thing. This media could not be displayed. What kind of weird glitches are happening here? Wow, they really don't want this video getting out. Let me reload this. Media could not be played. What is happening? Here we go. Try it again.
Just be very clear about this.
Let's be clear.
I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human.
Wow, that video does not want to play. I believe she's saying she'll deny, she's against any policy that would deny a human being who snuck into our country illegally free health care at our expense on our credit card tab, paid by you, who are also struggling to pay for your own health insurance and your own medications and your own food and your own insurance and your own mortgage and the school bills, the taxes, the fees. She is 100% in favor of taking your money to give it to people who were not invited here, who snuck in, who did not go through the proper channels. Just like in the Bronx, the people of the Bronx loathe the Democrats who have encouraged this madness. It's madness. So Renee, when she tweeted this, it's so weird. That video kept breaking. You know, right at the end where she like getting to the final part. I'm assuming that was roughly the sentence that she was saying. But Renee says Kamala will not do anything to slow down the illegals. Yeah, we know she's the border czar. So that's obvious. Okay. Turning to another topic real quick. I think this might be the only one we have here. Breaking. Bob Menendez is set to resign from Senate on August 20 following his bribery conviction. There's your Democrats, baby. But why August 20th? What are we waiting for? Why isn't he gone immediately? Why hasn't he been impeached and removed? You can pull a George Santos, but you can't pull him for bribery? For bribery, which is often treasonous. They're not 100% overlapping on the Venn diagram, but if you're paid off to do something that you don't believe in and something that may not impact the country, the city, the state, the country that you live in, well, yeah, then it does get into treason, especially if it's detrimental stuff that you're voting on. So they're going to let a convicted bribery guy, Democrat Bob Menendez, just hang out another month. You know, what could possibly go wrong in another month? Yeah, you got no business being here. If this was a corporation, you would have been let out by security. But yeah, let's just keep you around for a month. Let's see what more damage you can do on your way out. Maybe you could find some more gold bars laying around. This is a back and forth conversation we were having with this Rickster person. I wish. See, I should be able to click this and then just scroll up and see the entire conversation. I really don't like this. I gotta click see more. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of backwards. So Rickster said, Jill Biden's appointee, Cheatle, is gone, but she should have been fired by Kamala Harris. Yeah. So then we responded, so Jill Biden has her fingerprints on the Trump assassination by way of Kimberly Cheatle. The Bidens attacked their political rival through lawfare. Oh, I don't think I can edit this, can I? I haven't edited anything yet, but there's a spelling error. I'd love to correct. They only give you an hour to correct something. There shouldn't be a limitation on how long you have to find a spell check. And previous versions should always be available so you can see what it started with and what it was amended to in case you radically, 180 degree post a different comment to edit what people have already responded to. So then they read the response and go, you're crazy. You go, no. Look what they said the first time. That's what I reacted to. So I like the edit feature, but it shouldn't be limited to 1 hour. I've seen when I'm posting now that I'm verified as a premium member, it says you have up to 1 hour to edit this tweet if you want or something like that. But yeah, this is supposed to say through lawfare, not Theo lawfare. Anyway, the Bidens attacked their political rival through lawfare, recklessness, and potentially through attempted murder. Remember, this is the third Obama term, so let history judge him harshly. Their response was exactly. and with the help of the mainstream media? Well, our response to that was yes. However, never call them mainstream. There is nothing mainstream about them. They are lying legacy media. They are deep state Democrat media. Propagandists, liars, fools. Let's list the top 100 stories of the past decade and see the percentage of times they flat out lied. There you go. Right before we started broadcast of today's program, we did X this out. Unbidened by what has been. Biden out, Kamala in, plus what's the Secret Service director hiding? So that's our show attached to our Rumble feed. So please click on our Rumble feed and hit subscribe. Like some of our content. Let the advertisements play. It's like tossing a penny in the wishing well. And if you all do that, it adds up. Always appreciate that. But there's right there in our X feed is our Rumble post. Yeah, here we go. This is a weird one. Okay, why can't I scroll to the... Okay, there it is. So here, let's take a look. Chuck Calesto puts this out, and he asks, is this proof of life? What do you notice? So here's a car, and there's some Secret Service people. Of course, there's a woman Secret Service person, diminutive in stature, barely up to the shoulders of these other Secret Service people, which leads me to just question, can she dunk a basketball? Don't talk to me about, I've seen this thing around. I wonder if I could find it. Thinking. I might not be able to pull it up right now, but you're seeing it go around on like Facebook, and it's like, remember, if you let somebody question a female in a position of power, you're showing your daughter and your son that you're okay with misogyny and belittlement, or so. I can't remember exactly how it's phrased. I've wanted to respond to a couple of them. They're posted by people I'm friendly with, and I didn't really want to. Once again, I have started steering clear of irrelevant, pointless interactions with people that are completely lost. Okay, let me clarify. I have decreased the frequency with which I will engage people who are lost. I still do, hence talking to John Fugelsang next week. Looking forward to it. But I haven't responded yet. But my point is this. Just look at this picture. Can this little girl dunk a basketball? She comes up barely to this guy's shoulders. You saw it with President Trump. It wasn't just the female guard that was shaking and couldn't holster her gun. She tried 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many times. She kept poking around. She was so uncomfortable and unsure of herself. Not to mention she was 2 feet too short. 2 feet too small, or too short. Those two words combined together for me in that word. She's about 2 feet too short to adequately be the human shield for the president. If you can't dunk the basketball, you have no business being this person. Now, if you want to work on Secret Service detail, fine. Find a job where height and stature and physical strength mean nothing. If that means you could be a sniper on a roof, what difference does your height make when you're laying in a prone position? Probably next to none. In fact, it might be better since you're a smaller target yourself. If you want to be in the crowd, undercover, or dressed up in the crowd, well, once again, you got to be concerned, because if there were a real melee in the crowd, your diminutive stature could cause you to be easily overtaken. Hence, the combat positions of the Secret Service are probably not the place that you want to be. Just look at... So when you see that meme going around, I think the proper reaction is nobody cares that it's a lady if she can dunk a basketball. The thing is, this DEI hire, this Kimberly Cheatle, pushed by Jill Biden apparently. Holy crap. The same Biden crime family that tried to lawfare President Trump into jail, where, was it Benny Thompson put that legislation forward where they could strip him of Secret Service protection so they could Epstein him? Joe Biden's been trying to off Trump for years now. Was it really the same Jill Biden that helped this completely unkamalified person? And please say unkamalified for Kamala Harris. It's funny. Please clap. You respond to these messages by saying, can she dunk a basketball? The DEI hire, Cheatle, has video out talking about, we have a goal. It starts off good, and you go, okay, great. Of course. Tell me how you want to protect the president and the other dignitaries that you're assigned to. We want 30% workforce to be full of women. I'm sorry, what? That's not your job to socially engineer society. If there are very large, very capable, very strong, very talented women that want to be on Secret Service, join. But just saying 30% from now on, that dilutes the pool of talent that you can recruit from. It keeps very capable and competent, qualified people away from participating, from having a job that they could excel at. It's shocking. So when you see that meme going around, just ask, can she dunk a basketball? If she's not physically large enough to protect the president, you cannot be on that Secret Service security detail. You cannot. That has nothing to do with belittling women in positions of power. It's about being competent for the job. You've heard about that with Navy SEALs. You hear about it corporation after corporation, different firefighters making different standards and qualification levels for women to jump into positions is reckless, dangerous, and it must be stopped immediately everywhere. That could have got President Trump killed a week and a half ago. And I'll take 1 second to just express gratitude that attempt failed. And I'll add the ongoing prayer for extra protection, both physical here and extra worldly through prayer and divine protection, if such a thing exists. Please surround President Trump and his entire team for the entirety of their natural lives, please, because there are demons out there aiming at them. And for one, frankly, I'd like to fix the country. I'd like to get back on track and sort out all of the fires that are raging across the country. But yeah, if you see that, if you let someone critique a woman in power, you're blah, blah, blah. You're so bad. And you say, can she dunk a basketball? I don't care if she wears a bra. I don't care if she gets a period. Is she large enough to protect a 6'7", 6'6" Trump? Comes up to his rib cage. Right here, this girl looks like she comes up to the shoulder. That's not somebody that should be in this position. They could be maybe the driver. I'm not going to make a female driver joke either. Pass the driving test, prove that you're awesome. That's all I'm saying. But this position, if Lord, heaven forbid, something happened, she doesn't have the stature to protect this guy, meaning she's unfit for this position. Unless this is a wildly sloped trick of perspective here. Let's play the video. I know it was a sidebar, and I know we just kind of, maybe that was a whole lot of nothing, but I don't think it is nothing. I think it's super important to point this stuff out. And to Mark Cuban, who's pushing DEI. Maybe this is where I might be getting some of this, some of the inspiration for the can she dunk a basketball thing. Mark Cuban came out like, DEI is great. DEI is wonderful. And Elon Musk is like, cool. So how many Asian women are you putting on your Dallas Mavericks next season? Crickets. How many short Asian women are you going to put on your basketball team, the Dallas Mavericks? You want representation for representation's sake? That would obviously lower the quality of the performance of your basketball team because they would just be unable to play. 5'2" women unable to dunk the basketball. What are we saying here? What are you doing? Why are you virtue signaling, Mark Cuban? That was one of the best mic drop moments ever. Because you're either qualified to dunk the basketball, shoot a three, or jump up and block somebody, or you're not. That's not a knock on women. That's not misogynist, sexist, xenophobic, heterophobic, transphobic, this and that. These slurs and slanders don't work anymore. Thank God they don't work. Yeah. Do you think this Secret Service person can dunk a basketball? If not, why is she in that position? Okay, there's no sound on this. There. What do we notice about this video? So he's holding a diaper, a face mask in his hand. Looks over at the crowd. Sound comes in a couple seconds here. Gives a thumbs.
She dropped out of the race.
Yeah, I want to see this woman again. Yeah, she's a little girl. That's not the position. You need to have stature to defend as a human shield. She's unqualified for that position on stature, not because of gender.
She dropped out of the race, sir.
How are you feeling about Harris's campaign?
Can Harris beat Trump?
So he doesn't answer anything. The questions abound. Is this Joe Biden?
Can Harris beat Trump, Mr. President?
Looks like there's a lot less hair on top. Is this really Joe Biden or one of his doubles? That was a very fast walk up the stairs for somebody that it took like a full minute to get in the back seat of the car a couple of days ago. Wait, why was there a jump cut? Okay. Since when would he salute? Does that look like Biden? I mean, it looks like an old guy in a suit and glasses. He's got that prop prominently displayed in his hand. Definitely showing everybody that he has the prop. And how tall is he? Does that really look like him? He's so sick. Oh, he's so sick. I don't know. He looks much less sick there. Anyway, stuff to consider. Here's what. Oh, did I have the reply to that? Jolene asked, why does he have a mask in his hands? We responded to that. It was pretty. Oh, there we go. Our reaction was, why does he have a mask in his hands? We said the deep state Democrats are run by. Let me start over. This has occurred a lot lately for me, by the way. Like I start jumping over my words, and it's almost like you get out in front of yourself, out over your skates, out over your skis. Twisters out there that can catch me. Anyway, deep state Democrats are run by the creeps in Hollywood. Props are a big part of their thought process. This is the most phony administration in U.S. history. The most phony administration in U.S. history on a number of levels. So that was our reaction. Get a load of this one. Another one, let's God bless and pray for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a treasure in Congress. You need someone like her saying exactly what she says, asking exactly what she asks. Here she is talking with disgraced potential traitor, former Secret Service director. I think she was still the Secret Service director at the time. Kimberly Cheatle. I believe she's being asked, how did he fly a drone over the area? Can anyone answer me that? That are coming out with Iran, in Israel, in Ukraine, you have to have drone superiority, period. No question about it. Why is she checking the timeline to see when that took place? It's been 9 days. Tell us the timeline. You don't have the timelines. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You should. They are there for anyone to see. Why don't you, the person in charge, why are you the only one that doesn't have a timeline? We have timelines. In fact, you could even tell us about your preliminary timelines. You could say, well, we have some reports saying this, some saying that. We're not sure if it was 17 minutes or 11 minutes, but we've heard both. Maybe it's in a range between there. We're not entirely certain yet. You update us on the most current information that you currently have. That's your job. That's what the expectation is for you to show up today. And by the way, let's play that one more time. Listen this time. Listen to the peanut gallery. Listen to the people in this room. There is laughter and there is ridicule and there is rage. It's a blend of all those. Audible gasps. I have a timeline without specifics. That is not a timeline. A timeline without specifics is not a timeline. A bird without wings, a bird without feathers. An airplane without wings or wheels. That's not an airplane. The more this lady talks, the more she seems guilty, not incompetent. That is just astonishing. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so long, Cheatle. Once again, Cheatle needs to be arrested. Arrested. That sounded better. Cheatle needs to be arrested for suspicion of attempted murder and a plot to stage a coup to prevent the future president from assuming the natural state of affairs, his rightful position that was taken from him in 2020 in the upcoming election in about 100 days. That is a coup of the next president. That's treasonous. Arrest her now. Here's a post from DC Drano. Here's the Democrat election scam broken down, according to him. They create the illusion of support for a candidate by pumping them up in the media apparatus that they fully control. They use billionaires to launder money to the candidate through straw donors on Act Blue. $3,300 max per person? No problem. Just funnel a billionaire's money through the hundreds of thousands of names. Wow, look how popular they are. Yeah, no doubt. Polling companies work for them, so that's no issue either. Just show the transformational candidate with strong numbers based on imaginary data. Now the public believes they have a chance. They don't. Then they register 8 million plus illegal alien invaders to vote. They don't need them to actually cast a ballot on election day and risk getting caught. They just need that name on the voter roll so they can pump out a fake ballot and throw it in a drop box undetected in a few key swing states. Holy crap. This is the same exact thing that they allegedly did in 2020, among the other 40 things they allegedly did in 2020. And I'm saying allegedly for the benefit of YouTube. You can strike that on Rumble and X because there's no allegedly to this. The playbook is obvious. But as I said, look at the screen underneath on my video. It says, for countervailing views, please visit cisa.gov/rumor control regarding elections. You know why? Because they will tell you that 2020 was the most safe and secure election in American history, in world history, the only one with massive mail-in votes unchecked, signature verification that didn't happen, and unguarded drop boxes. No numbered ballots that could have been easily photocopied. The paper that wasn't watermarked. Yep. That was totally secure, according to CISA.gov. And they want you to know about that countervailing view that I will not repeat. I won't repeat seriously. I mean, I'll repeat it to tell you, because it's like, look, in the middle of my show, I did discuss countervailing views. I mentioned where to go get them. As if the left ever mentions countervailing views and sends them to the new American media. Piss off. And that's their plan. They just want people to stop talking. They want people to stop making their point, because you keep getting smacked on the wrist with a ruler, with a yardstick. Your account is taken down. You're demonetized. You're deplatformed. You're shadow banned. Your views are capped. Like I said, tell me how I'm getting many more views on Rumble with 81 subscribers than I am on YouTube with 6,400. Tell me how. Same exact content. Tell me how. That is not reality. That is what the deep state has put together with their social media censorship and punishment apparatus. Biden at the helm of it, meaning Barack Hussein Obama at the helm of this. Continuing on here, the deep state, FBI, and Department of Justice won't even open an investigation, so no issue there. And if any judges start getting a little too close to allowing an actual trial showing evidence, that judge gets a very threatening phone call. Then boom, every single case is dismissed on standing. What great luck for them. By the way, I've been hammering this point for 4 years. Dismissing a case regarding voter security, voter accuracy, by saying you don't have standing is the worst legal argument I have ever heard. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I'm sure there's plenty of awful takes. But I did stay in a Holiday Inn last night. No, I'm not getting paid by them, but you know, I could do a series of snarky tongue-in-cheek things, claiming not to be an expert, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. If I thought Holiday Inn's corporate headquarters would care about somebody like me delivering accurate information instead of turning up their nose and like we'd no. So I wouldn't even try, but it would be a great idea. In an election, let's take America. Let's take the presidential election for the specific example here. You have 50 states. 50 states who are all voting. 50 states who are relying on the validity of what's happening in the other 49 states. Otherwise, you don't have an honest election. You don't have a nation, truth be told. There's no election. The standing is because if somebody in Kansas cheats, it defrauds and steals, robs, deprives the voter in Kansas, the voter in Hawaii. What's that phrase? A miscarriage of justice anywhere is a miscarriage of justice anywhere or something. I don't know, something along those lines. The standing is baked into the cake that we have 50 separate individual states who have collectively come together and said, look, we'll make our decisions nationally based on somebody we can all agree on. We'll have a vote and we'll do our thing. That is standing. Speaking of standing, I'm having an issue in the Restream studio right now. I cannot access the studio. Okay, what was that? Now everything's restarted. Testing 1 2. Wow, that's really strange. That's never happened before. Holy crap. We're back. That was weird. 2 major glitches on 2 different things. See, that was the other thing that started happening to all of our accounts. When you're a little too close, when you're a little too over the target, they start messing with your feed. They start messing with your accounts. They start messing with your ability to broadcast, transmit, and disseminate your information. At this point, I'd like to throw up a peace sign and speak to my handler right now and just say, look, you're on the inside. You've been assigned to the New American Media because we're getting a little too close to the truth. I totally get that. However, you have the capability from the inside to impact an enormous amount of change, either by becoming a whistleblower or by sabotaging their deep state corrosive efforts to destroy America. You're getting paid to do this, and having steady, reliable pay is important to most people. However, I encourage you to consider that your soul is eternal. If this earthly realm is just a video game, it doesn't matter how many coins you collect on this level. It matters if you win the game. In the stuff that you're doing right now, you're playing for the wrong side. You can defend freedom and liberty from your position. Just a lowly deep state agent following the New American Media. But you can impact change. And you can take it all down from the inside. And I encourage you to do so. Because we, the people, have issued a stand-down order to the monsters who have been trying to light the earth on fire and destroy American prosperity. Stand down. You have zero chance in 2024 to defeat Donald Trump. Zero. There is no amount of cheating, election rigging that you can do to make the people think that anything is the proper outcome other than about a 48-2 blowout in favor of Trump. Let's give DC and, I don't know, pick another wacky place. But over the past 4 years of your medical autonomy forcing you to take things injected into you, shutting down your businesses, silencing you, and these Democrats have proven to be enemies of the state. They no longer have the consent of the governed, and you've been issued a stand-down order. Get out of the way and let this happen. Nobody will ever believe Kamala Harris defeated Donald Trump. There's nobody on the Democrat side that can come close to the legendary status that Donald Trump has right now, especially after watching how you've ruined the country for 4 years now. The policies, it's hard to consider them being any more opposite than they are right now. Hard to imagine. Anyway, So that's my thought to my deep state handler as you watch. Thank you. Consider being a hero. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange. Consider being a hero. Consider becoming legendary. That will help you in the afterlife. Collecting these coins right now, you don't get to keep them. You put them over your eye when you cross the river Styx. Close the eyelids, toss the coins on, you're done. You don't get to take them with you. But if you become a legend, standing up for freedom and liberty, that helps you big time. You will be rewarded on the other side. Because that other side is eternal. This is fleeting. This is just a video game, man. Just a video game. Play it wisely, really. So anyway, that was my thought about cases being dismissed on standing. Oh, there's no standing for you to bring this lawsuit against regarding this vote. Yeah, we all have standing on the vote. Because without a vote that we can rely on, with legal opportunities to remedy alleged issues, there is no nation. You've broken the United States into 50 pieces. You've shattered our country. And honestly, maybe that's what the globalists want. We've been too high on our hog for too long. Obama has always wanted to take us down a few notches. Always. Bitter, divisive. Ugh. Anyway, so standing. That's my thoughts on standing. Sorry, the feed reset. DC Drano continues here. Then, when they steal the election, they ban anyone on social media who's calling out their scam. They put up barbed wire around the Capitol. They use thousands of troops to keep the public away and start new wars across the globe for years on end. We no longer live in a free country. We live under a communist regime masquerading as a constitutional republic. Trump is their greatest threat, and they just tried to put a bullet in his head. We know exactly how they do it. Only question now is, can we stop it? Once the fake ballots are intermingled with real votes, it's too late. The key word is prevention. Courts will issue injunctions beforehand, but they'll almost never undo the fraud afterwards. Yes, we need surveillance cameras, poll watchers, lawyers stationed at polling places, local police crackdowns on fraud schemes, not the corrupt FBI, and as much public exposure of this fraud as possible so state legislators can stop it in time. By the way, we need paper ballots, we need same-day voting, and they need to be watermarked and individually numbered so you can't photocopy them. You can't Xerox them. And each number would be tied to somebody. You'd know who got mailed that thing. Does it match the signature verification? There's a lot that can be done, and it needs to be done. The hell? Instagram now. This is great. Look at this. In the middle of the show, while I'm broadcasting, I'm watching on YouTube, and this is what pops up. It takes away my feed, and it shows me this. How interesting. So this says, we suspect automated behavior on your account. To prevent your account from being temporarily restricted or permanently disabled, ensure that no other users or tools have access to your account and that you're following our terms of use. Also, consider changing your password to a stronger one to prevent unauthorized access to your account by third parties. What does that have to do with me doing a show on the New American Media through Restream? Nothing. Third tech glitch messing with the program today. Third. Here is James O'Keefe. Let's make sure we share this one out. O'Keefe Media Group. Exposing Democrats' massive money laundering operation. So here's what this is about. Contributions were being made through Act Blue and citizens all across the United States. Over $200 million has been laundered. It's called smurfing, the activity of laundering money by conducting a large number of small transactions through banks and individuals. One person contributed $217,000 through 12,000 different contributions in a 3-year period with variations of his name and address. thousands of transactions laundering hundreds of millions of dollars, according to James O'Keefe. Wall Street Ape says Act Blue is a money laundering operation. So there you go. Yeah, take a look here. These are 6 different pictures. By the way, that bottom left picture of Joe Biden, okay, I think I remember watching that one, but that looks like a mask, right? That doesn't look real. You got the liver spots on the top left and the top right. You have a super wrinkly forehead in the bottom middle, and then weird shiny on the middle top and right top. So yeah, that's the question. Which one is it? Of course, leaders have stunt doubles and body doubles. We know that. Does Biden? I mean, you assume that they do. But was that really Biden that walked off of that tarmac and onto that plane? I don't know. Montana says, notice that Biden didn't speak. Here we go. Here's Biden walking. One of the Bidens walking again. Notice that he didn't speak. More recorded voice messages from an unknown location to be shown as audio proof of life? If this is Biden. So there you go. Here's Joe Biden laughing maniacally because he is demented. This is a meme that says, my work here is almost done as the nation burns. I do not usually quote. Why is this post unavailable? There we go. All right, so let's walk through this. This is a whitehouse.gov memorandum on the delegation of certain functions and authorities under the Rebuilding Economic Prosperity and Opportunity for Ukrainians Act. What? The Post says that now presidential functions are being delegated to the Secretary of State and the Secretary of the Treasury. Nothing to see here. Rob Schneider says, holy shit, now Biden is transferring powers to his cabinet? Health Ranger Mike Adams, we talked with him once, I believe. We talked with Mike Adams and John B. Wells in Dallas on one of the anniversaries of the deep state killing Kennedy so they could steal power in a coup. Mike Adams says, looks like a coup is actually underway right now. All power is being stripped away from Biden and delegated to others, while nobody has seen Biden for days. And there's no proof of life. At what point should law enforcement enter the White House and start asking what the hell is going on? Alex says, next they will move on Trump and the American people. Again, the deep state is consolidating its dictatorial powers over the executive branch before accelerating to the final stages of converting the republic into an oligarchy dictatorship. As I warned a month ago, this is the big one. God help us all. Another one from DC Drano. He says, remember, the deep state didn't need a perfect plan. They knew the shooter would be killed. Dead men tell no tales. They don't care that the Secret Service director is resigning or being investigated. They probably didn't even care if we caught them red-handed. They just wanted Trump dead at all costs. There are trillions of dollars at stake with war profits, big pharma, and open borders, and it all ends with Trump in power. With Trump gone, they could easily drag Biden or Kamala across the finish line. But Trump is still standing, now more powerful and popular than ever. They never thought the shooter would miss. So once again, a moment of gratitude, a prayer of gratitude, thankfulness. I don't know where any of us would be at mentally if things had gone differently. In a continued prayer and call for all of the protection in the physical realm and in the earthly realm possible. I guess I got to reshare my screen. Sorry, I was supposed to be doing that already. But it booted me off because it's weird. All right. Colin Rugg is saying Biden was blackmailed into dropping out of the race after top Democrats threatened to remove him from office with the 25th Amendment, according to the New York Post. Okay. It's becoming clear that the coup was a well-orchestrated plan by Democrats. Biden's June debate appeared to be a setup so Democrats could forcibly remove Biden in time to get a new candidate. According to Politico, Nancy Pelosi threatened Biden if he refused to drop out of the race. Nancy made clear that they could do this the easy way or the hard way. She gave them 3 weeks of the easy way. It was about to be the hard way, a source told Politico. The hard way appears to have been the 25th Amendment. Am I not sharing the screen still? Doggone it. All right, there. Now I'm sharing the screen. There was an update to Restream, and instead of clicking it and going there while I'm on the new page, you have to go back to the other page, re-click it, then go back to the other page so you can see the source material. Once again, you don't need to know all the nuts and bolts of the 3 technical glitches and the Restream glitches, so that's glitch number 4. But that's how it goes. Doing it anyway. Biden's own staff didn't even know that he was dropping out until they read his letter on X, which was digitally signed. But did this plan go back even further? In 2020, Pelosi unveiled legislation that would allow Congress to intervene under the 25th Amendment to remove the president. She assured the public at the time that the legislation was not for Trump. What?
This is not about President Trump. He will face the judgment of the voters. But he shows the need for...
Take that diaper off your face, number 1. Number 2, the judgment of the voters. Trump was ahead hundreds of thousands of votes in all 6 key swing states. It was about to be the blowout that everyone expected. Then, who made the call? Who made the call to tell all those states to stop counting? So that magically they could all, one by one, flip hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of votes ahead. So that by 10,000 votes, 12,000 votes, 15,000 votes, 20,000 votes, 30,000 votes, the tiniest of margins, Joe Biden could miraculously, the child sniffing, daughter showering, money laundering, World War III starting, creep so that he could become our most popular president with 81 million totally legitimate votes. For
us to create a process for future presidents. The 25th Amendment creates a path for preserving stability if a president suffers a crippling physical or mental problem and is, unquote, in the amendment, unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office and transfers his powers. Specifically, Section 4.
Can someone tell me what she's doing with her prop? Nose is wide open and exposed. The mask is there just to make it sound like she's got marbles in her mouth, cotton balls wadded up in there. It's such theater, and it's bad theater.
Of the amendment empowers Congress to set up an independent body to confront such a crisis. Congress has a constitutional duty to lay out the process by which a president's incapacity and the president of any party is determined. This bill honors the duty by creating a standing commission of top former executive officials and medical experts.
Former officials. You mean like the 51 intelligence officials? This was so that she could have coup power. Make no mistake about it. Pelosi has her fingerprints all over this.
Selected in a bipartisan, bicameral way. A president's fitness for office must be determined by science and facts. This legislation applies to future presidents, but we are reminded of the necessity of action by the health of the current president.
So there you have that. That was a flashback I didn't know I needed. What's up, Dreamer Ultra? How are you? Missing Ken today. Continued prayers for health and wellness to Jocelyn. Yeah, I love the regulars that jump in. This is like a big sports bar, except we talk politics here because we're adults. We don't shriek and ree at the sky. We just talk. because that's what adults are supposed to do. Dreamer is chiming in saying, oh, here, let me pop this on the screen. There we go. What we should all prepare for is the likelihood of another 4 years, like the last 4 years. No, we there's no preparation for it. We can't handle it. We can't handle any more of this. Dreamer saying divine intervention seems more likely than a miss. You know, I was thinking about that. There is that persistent story, Dreamer. And by the way, everybody else, hit subscribe, hit like, follow us in all the places, please. But leave your comments. I love reading the comments. It's so it it embiggens the smallest man. But it does. It adds richness to the show. There was that report of that officer getting up, climbing up to that roof, seeing the alleged shooter, having the shooter turn his gun on him, then that person getting down. And then you assume that shooter repositioned himself and he figured his cover was blown. He didn't have much time to go. He better get this shot off while he still can. And maybe he rushed it. I mean, it could have, because your heart rate starts pulsing. Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready. Sweaty palms. Your heart rate elevates. Your breathing changes. I've taken some training classes. And if you have to run and then stop and make a shot, it's different than just standing and taking a shot. If this guy encountered someone who popped his head up like a groundhog and then he had to swing over, he's like, oh my God. And then that guy leaves. And then you go back here. Oh crap, 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 oh crap. That might have been all it took. And we need to know who that person was. We need that story. We need to know who that hero was, because it might be that person that saved Donald Trump's life and saved our nation from the civil war that it seems like they wanted so badly. Remember that movie that came out, Civil War? It's not a good one, by the way. I did not care for it, and I bought it. Ugh. I was going to go see it in the theater, so I would have probably spent more than the $20 I dropped on Amazon or whatever, but save your money. Catch it on reruns if you must, but that person is a hero. But even so, I think the shooter recovered in time, because if Trump doesn't turn his head slightly to look up at that screen, I mean, I think, true or false, another question of the day. Did Trump get 2 hits to the ear? I was watching another diagram, a rendering, I think is what I'm trying to say. A graphic rendering. I think it showed when he turned, there was 1, 2, 3. Whereas if he wouldn't have turned, I mean, it would have been right on 1, 2, 3. But because he turned slightly, it went 1, 2, 3 and got him in the eye. Did he get hit twice? And that was actually what John Fugelsang tweeted, that Trump didn't take a bullet. He said, for democracy, he didn't take a bullet for democracy. He said, Gabby Giffords took a bullet. I'm like, that is the worst take I've ever seen. What are you talking about? So is he is he trying to say that didn't happen? That President Trump wasn't actually shot? But then in a further post, he said, are you saying it was divine intervention to save Trump, but to kill a firefighter? Okay, so what is it? There's a bullet or there's not a bullet? Did it kill somebody, or it was fake and it wouldn't have hurt anybody? I don't fully know. Dreamer is saying that Trump seemed to lean toward divine intervention in his Thursday speech. What's the RNC? Oh, RNC. Maybe you're doing yes, RNC speech. Yes. He says, I turned my head slightly. He said, I'm not supposed to be here. Not supposed to be here. And the crowd goes, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And Trump goes, thank you. Thank you. But I'm not. But I'm not. Yeah, that was a good speech. And I think what's lost in some of that is some of the unity and some of the. It was a well done speech. Yes, he definitely riffed for a while. That's for sure. But it was a well done speech, and I think we should clip out certain parts of that and make sure we're sharing that positive message of unity and fixing all these problems. Not that any one person can fix every problem, but you get my point. Yeah, Trump definitely did lean in to that concept, Dreamer, for sure. But yeah, this is interesting now, just looking at Pelosi. Yeah, and here's another one about Kamala. You know, they're asking, is she a natural born citizen? Who makes that determination? Isn't it if your parents are not citizens at the time of your birth, then you're not a natural citizen, hence ineligible to serve as vice president? I'm hearing some people say that maybe Barack Hussein Obama could join the ticket as a vice president. Something about the wording. I'm like, that makes no sense to me. If your job is to fill in for the president, but you've already had 2 terms, you're done. They're like, no, you can't be elected president for 2 terms, for more than 2 terms. I'm going, okay, we are not really having this conversation, are we? Are we really going to do that? But here we are. And I would love a ruling on the natural born citizen thing once and for all. It seems fairly obvious to me, but what do I know? I'm not sure if all these are accurate or not. Wayne Dunlap says this, but Kamala Harris facts. Was she raised in Canada, not in California? Is that accurate? She's not African American. She's Indian and Jamaican. Isn't Jamaican? I guess that's not African. I don't know. All this race stuff, it's so irrelevant. It's so unimportant. But the Democrats love it because they stir up emotions in people and make them angry. Make them angry, especially at people like me, who, you know, I got no ill will for anybody. You're either cool or you're not cool. That's how I break down the delineation of who people are. Cool or not cool. Her political career started out of an affair with a married man, yes. I'm forgetting his name now. Was it Jerry Brown? She imprisoned over 2,000 black people for minor drug charges. Then she held them past their release date for free county labor resources. In some respect, that's called slave labor. Descendant of Hamilton Brown, one of the largest slave owner traders in Jamaican history. Only a Democrat can run on those credentials. All right. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. But this is wild. Coming back to this Pelosi 25th Amendment thing. And remember, Donald Trump famously, he said, oh, they're not going to use the 25th on me. They're going to use it on you, Joe. He's been saying that for a long time. Kyle Becker saying, think about this. Trump almost gets assassinated. Days later, Biden has a medical emergency in Vegas requiring self-isolation at home. Last public appearance reported to be July 17 when deboarding a plane in Delaware. Of course, there's this new video that I showed you previously that we're trying to figure out, was that him? Why didn't he speak? Okay. In the time since, Trump has shown up to the RNC and accepted the GOP nomination. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries ramp up pressure campaign to push Biden out. Leaks abound. Washington Post reports that Obama's not happy with Biden's election chances. Pelosi starts an operation, dubbed Get Joe Out the Hard Way. Biden aides Rashidi Donnellan execute plan to push him out. Hunter and Jill are reportedly having a screaming fest. A resignation letter with a suspect digital signature with no official letterhead is issued on X. White House staff is blindsided. Chief of Staff informs cabinet, takes over communications. Endorsements begin. Hillary, Bill, Newsom. Finally, Obama speaks out. Joe Biden, has been one of America's most consequential presidents. Kamala shows up to take over. Family members Frank and Valerie Biden say that health was a factor. FEC filings have been changed and donations have been transferred over to her campaign. Kamala somehow raises $81 million in 24 hours. 81 million. By the way, if 2020 was obviously rigged, which of course CISA.gov/rumor control would say that's not true. Go there for countervailing views. If that were the case, and you were using ActBlue to take thousands of small donations and change your name and change your address, and you don't need a person to go vote, you just need the ballot type thing. You don't need someone to donate. You don't need 1,000 people to donate. You need one person to donate. And you just have your patsies. You kind of funnel it through them. You're like, yeah, I'll just file this for you. We'll get this out. If you pulled off a heist, would you rub it in people's faces by pointing out 81 again, by mentioning $81 million? Why 81? 81 million totally legitimate votes? Interesting. Apparently, Kamala gets the delegates to be the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. Yeah, check that one out. I believe she has secured more than 50%. How much more could the Democrats rig their elections, their primaries? How could anybody believe in that party? How is this not a coup? Because Joe Biden hadn't been seen in public that whole time. Of course, that one brief thing today where he did not speak, not enough. Continuing with some of the other stuff happening. Benjamin Netanyahu is in town, and he did request a meeting with Trump. Biden canceled his meeting with Netanyahu, and Kamala has refused to attend his speech in Congress. Apparently, she's worried about the optics to voters in Minnesota and Michigan, but is planning to meet with Bibi. We're living in wild times. Jason says Biden can't meet with Bibi for health reasons, and Kamala won't meet with him for political reasons. Bibi should meet with Trump. Yeah, VP Kamala Harris reportedly declined to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu while he's in D.C. to address Congress. She has a track record of stupid in the Middle East. I don't care who she's married to. The guy couldn't explain Hanukkah. Harris is bad for America and Jews in Israel. Okay. Kamala Harris is meeting with a sorority in Indianapolis instead of attending Bibi Netanyahu's address to Congress. If you've just taken over for the incompetent, deteriorating Joe Biden, you don't have to like Netanyahu. You need to be at something like that while we're involved in a proxy war in Gaza right now. If Zelensky or Putin came to talk, you would go to that. Is she really in a sorority in Indianapolis? Is that real? Zero Hedge reporting that Trump says he looks forward to welcoming Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. So to some of you, that's good news. Some of you, that's not good news. Here's an interesting one from Charlie Kirk. 92% of Kamala Harris's staff has left her in the first 3 years as vice president. One staffer put it this way. It's clear that you're not working with somebody who is willing to do the prep and the work, a former anonymous staffer told the Post. With Kamala, you have to put up with a constant amount of soul-destroying criticism and also her own lack of confidence. So you're constantly sort of propping up a bully, and it's not really clear why. That is bizarre. Amuse puts some stuff out. Amuse is starting to crush it, it seems like. It's a good account to follow. You may have forgotten that CrowdStrike was center stage in the Democrat email leak scandal and the impeachment of Trump. The DNC refused to let the FBI examine servers. Instead, they gave them to who? CrowdStrike. Trump asked Zelensky to look into the company on his famous call. Oh, boy. So down here, did Democrats use CrowdStrike to frame Russia for the hack? I mean, isn't that obvious? Seth Rich? It was Seth Rich in WikiLeaks. It had nothing to do with Russia. But what did CrowdStrike say? A lie, allegedly. A total lie. Trump asked Zelensky to look into the company. The DNC refused to turn over its servers to the FBI, opting instead to let them review CrowdStrike's findings. It's worth noting that CrowdStrike was co-founded by a Russian dissident whose father, a nuclear scientist, brought him to the U.S. when he was 14. Could he have harbored a grudge against Russia? Did he frame Russia to cover up an internal leak? These questions remain unanswered. Well, let's answer them. President Trump and many Americans know very well, according to Deanna here, know very well what's been going on in Ukraine. That's why Zelensky is worried, and he should be. So, Musings of a Nobody says, tinfoil hat time, folks. Notice that within hours of Trump's phone call with Zelensky, Joe all of a sudden drops out because Trump did speak with Zelensky and he released a statement out. I don't have it in front of me, but he thanked President Zelensky for wishing him well on his health and blah, 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 the campaign. And Trump looks forward to ending the war is what it seems. So the question is, all of a sudden, Joe drops out. Did Zelensky make a deal with Trump regarding Joe and Hunter and James and their ties to Ukraine? I mean, if I were Zelensky, I would be reading the writing on the wall. This is a sinking ship. I would preemptively negotiate a peace deal. Don't wait. Do it now. Credit Trump. Although, geez, if you thought that the deep state was trying to take out Trump and that they were trying to take Biden out in a coup or an assassination, they got nothing on Zelensky. I don't encourage this. I'm not promoting this, but I do greatly suspect that Zelensky will not be around very long. When he got elected, I thought it was cool. Hey, a comedian took over a country. That's neat. Look at that. There's hope for any of us. There's Victoria Nuland and Joe Biden and Barack Hussein Obama. No, not good. Sold his soul. You know, I could be wrong. Time will tell, and I'm not rooting for it. But Zelensky seems far too dangerous to leave walking this earth. It seems like. That would just be my guess. My guess would be, you could fully expect something bad to happen to him because dead men tell no tales. Not an endorsement of that. That's just a concern of mine. Here's Trump talking about Zelensky.
I tell you, Zelensky's one of the greatest salesmen in history. Every time he comes to the country, he walks away with $50 or $60 billion. I've never been able to do that. He's a better salesman. He's a much better salesman.
He's a much better salesman than Trump. That's an interesting way to do that, to say that. Another one from Amuse. Zelensky claims that Trump's Veep doesn't understand war. Wow, what a weird thing to say. You don't think J.D. Vance understands war? Ironically, Zelensky famously dodged the draft before he played a school teacher on Servant of the People, who becomes president of Ukraine. J.D. Vance, however, is a U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran. There's the vice president right there, future vice president. Zelensky took office in 2019 for a reminder there. Okay. So Ukraine was overthrown in 2014, and then 5 years later, Zelensky took over. Zelensky remarked that combat veteran J.D. Vance appeared clueless about military conflict. I don't think so. I could play this. I don't think you'll understand it.
I heard your words.
Oh, he's talking.
And it's important that you support it. And I heard your words. I think all of us understand that we have to finish the war as soon as possible, of course, not to lose people lives for us.
Yeah, that's different. That is a very different tone from Zelensky right there. If it was hard to understand, Zelensky is now saying, by the way, this is just 4 days after he spoke with President Trump. From Zelensky, quote, "We have to finish the war as soon as possible, not to lose people's lives." Yeah, where's that energy been for the past couple years? Amused again. Trump was right again. Zelensky has finally found the motivation he needed to end the war. Trump's inauguration. Down here it says, Trump's inauguration looks certain, and Zelensky is now ready to end the war immediately. Ukraine's president is making it clear he knows he must end the war quickly, likely realizing that Biden's seemingly endless funding for Ukraine is coming to an abrupt halt. Yeah, and we just said, wow. Even Zelensky can read the writing on the wall. It seems like he would have done a better job on that one. Been a little more savvy. Back to Cheatle again. Once again, if you're joining us late, I want to say Don Cheatle. God, we had a joke in the New American Media. I think it was in the Unhappy Hour sports show. We do a sports show as well. Don Cheatle was like a running gag, a running joke, a running meme for a long time. Anyway, Kimberly Cheatle being out, but here's Jesse Waters talking about this.
You think we're going to get a straight answer here? With all these mysterious failures, Biden says he still has confidence in Cheatle, but doesn't know Cheatle's a woman.
Is it acceptable that you have still heard, at least publicly, from the Secret Service directly?
Oh, I've heard from him.
I've heard from her publicly?
Publicly, I've sat down in a situation room downstairs. The Secret Service, the FBI, the national security agencies, the Homeland Security, all the major elements.
Sources close to the Biden.
He did call her a him.
Family.
And the interviewer, was that Lester Holt? He definitely corrected and said her. In the next sentence, he used her to kind of help him from making a big mistake.
As Cheatle was well liked by Dr. Jill after serving on her security detail. And
yeah, so check that out. This is the part. Well liked by Jill Biden. Why are we calling her doctor? Anyway, it's a finer point, but Jill Biden's input on putting Cheatle in this position, look at that. The butterfly effect. Butterflies and hurricanes. A butterfly flapping its wings over here could create a hurricane, a chain reaction down on the other side of the country, other side of the planet. Jill Biden pushing for Cheatle led to the Trump assassination attempt.
Dr. Jill after serving on her security detail, and that's how she got the job. This is your typical Biden family affair. Obama's Secret Service director resigned when a man with a knife jumped the White House fence.
Someone with a knife gets across the barrier of the fence, and he resigns under Obama.
So is Cheatle just staying around to cover this up? We only get answers when she's out. And just breaking now, Dan Bongino reporting that Secret Service agents have been warned that if they want to keep their jobs, they'll keep their mouths shut.
And if you could think of anybody who has, let me rephrase that. I can't think of anybody who would have more open, accurate, trustworthy, reliable information regarding Secret Service matters than Dan Bongino. Former Secret Service member, current talk show host, and is he an owner of Rumble? Co-owner? Investor?
But instead of investigating, the FBI is warning that Trump supporters are a threat.
Yeah, that's been nonsense from day one. White supremacists and Trump supporters are the biggest domestic terror threat in our nation. It's like, no, that's never been true. But then again, the Democrats lie about almost everything important.
The Bureau says Trump supporters will probably avenge the assassination attempt and shoot somebody. Another Whitmer kidnapping setup? We don't know. The minute we stop asking questions, they win. You think we're going to get?
Yeah, so many unanswered questions at this point. Yeah, this is another one from Blanche with the side-by-side of Cheatle and Biden. Joe Biden's statement after Secret Service Director Cheatle resigns, stating, Jill and I. What has Jill Biden to do with the job of an administration official? They were close friends? Jill and I? What? This one's interesting. New York Talk Radio reports the driving influences behind Kimberly Cheatle getting the Secret Service Director job was... do you recognize those faces? Let's see what she has to say here.
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office.
Oh, okay. Does that include what you think it might include? That's right, Republican globalist swamp creature and father of Trump-hating loser Liz Cheney. Interesting. So there is a Biden connection. To what degree? This is from the New York Post. Secret Service Director Kim Cheatle landed the job after a push by Jill Biden's office. Why does Jill Biden have an office? I guess first ladies get one. I mean, she's a former first vice president. That's what the New York Post is reporting. Let's play this clip here regarding Cheatle, because we're done with her in some regards. In other regards, we're just getting started.
She would know. The 28-year veteran was on the team that evacuated Vice President Dick Cheney on 9/11, and she served on then Vice President Biden's protective detail. He named her director in mid-2022. Amid a swirl.
Mid-2022. Is this a DEI hire? Was she the most eminently qualified person for the position, or did this check another box? I don't know what Pete Buttigieg knows about transportation, but they threw him in there because he checks a box. That is the toxicity of the Democrat Party. Look at the incompetence.
2022. Amid a swirl of controversy over the agency deleting nearly all of its text messages from January 6th.
Oh! They deleted all their text messages from January 6th. And I believe she was saying the same thing, that they don't have communications from J13 either.
Nearly all of its text messages from January 6th. The agency says that was due to a data migration. System migration.
A data migration. No, it's not. No, it's not.
System migrations happen. But I think for a lot of Americans, it just doesn't pass the smell test, given the timing and the volume of messages deleted.
Well, it's unfortunate that that would be the assumption that people would make. Our integrity is everything, and there was nothing nefarious attached to that.
What a lie. J6 was a complete setup. From Ray Epps to Pelosi and her daughter, to the media parroting the insurrection lie the whole time. Moving the barricades, opening the doors, people peacefully protesting through the people's house. A lot of that riotous behavior from a mostly peaceful protest, mostly peaceful but fiery protest, started when the police, when whoever it was, whichever department, started firing tear gas canisters, exploding into people who were packed in to the area. You started attacking them.
Her integrity has, she would know.
Her integrity is everything. So that's interesting. That was interesting that she got some pushback from someone at CBS. Once again, I'll give kudos to AOC, who was really on the scene yesterday, calling for Cheatle's, really just saying it's unacceptable what she allowed to happen under her watch. You know, credit to CBS there. Let me just read this interpretation here. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle, she was currently under fire following security lapses at President Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. She's gone now. But according to sources, Cheatle owes her position to significant backing from First Lady Jill Biden's office. Insiders close to the Biden family, including those familiar with operations during the Obama-Biden administration, indicated that Cheatle was a favored candidate by Jill Biden and her senior aides. Wow, so Jill got to pick the head of the Secret Service. Wow, what a big, important decision for somebody who was not elected to be president. Notably, Anthony Bernal, a senior advisor with no national security background, was instrumental in advocating for Cheatle's appointment. No national security background, but Anthony Bernal, senior advisor, was instrumental. Cheatle is the first woman to head the agency. Wow, what a crowning achievement. I think we should care about qualifications and competency instead of genitalia. She was appointed without Senate confirmation. August 22, after a stint at PepsiCo. Okay, so she did have 27 years in the Secret Service. It's not like she went right from Pepsi to Secret Service. This week, Cheatle has stated to brief Congress on the alarming security breach allowing the gunman to open fire, injuring the former president and killing a rally attendee and injuring 2 other people. And she's gone now. She gone now. Look at that face. Ugh. Oof. Yikes. Cheatle, gone. But yeah, remember this, Kyle Becker reminding us. What's this say here? According to Cheatle, that building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof, she told ABC News in an interview Tuesday. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside. What transpired instead was a security nightmare. This idiot was able to scale the building and secure his own position while law enforcement struggled to locate him, even amid pressing warnings from members of the Trump crowd. But there wasn't sufficient time to act on the tips, she explained. The shooter was actually identified as a potential person of suspicion. Just so unacceptable. She needs a mugshot. This should be her mugshot in Guantanamo Bay. Gateway pundit reporting the top security chiefs have snubbed Congress. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Secret Service, FBI, and Homeland Security heads have reportedly refused to testify on day 2. So we'll see if anything changed while I've been broadcasting, but it looks like they were not slated to do so. Matt Wallace says this needs to be shared everywhere. The Heritage Foundation just released cell phone data of a mysterious figure who made frequent trips between Trump shooter and a building in the D.C. area. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading his name. Stop using his name. Just say the shooter. I don't want to. If someone actually did this, and if they acted alone, which I don't entirely believe yet, I don't want to give him notoriety. And my God, he was so close to having permanent notoriety. So I'm grateful that didn't happen. Thank you. The Heritage Foundation just released cell phone data of a mysterious figure who made frequent trips between the Trump shooter's home and a building in D.C. near an FBI office. Who is this person? 9 devices were identified in the analysis linking to both his home and work. He did not act alone. We are witnessing the first ever coup in the history of the United States. Well, some would argue there was a coup in 2020. I would. Some would argue there was a coup in 1963. I think I'm getting that year right, when they took out Kennedy. So to say that's the first ever coup, I don't think that applies, but I get the point. The graphic designed by Matt Wallace and tagged sources include Gateway Pundit, Oversight PR, and Mario Knopfel. Extremely important story, and they're doing everything they can to stifle it. Okay. Yeah. Just announced Democrats plan to save democracy by subverting democracy. Yeah, Kamala had one job as border czar. 11 million illegal aliens. She had one job, secure the border. Don't let them forget it. Donald Trump, through Truth Social, says, does lion Kamala Harris think Joe Biden is fit to run the USA for the next 6 months? She must answer the question. Now it appears Joe is delegating his presidential authority to unelected Washington bureaucrats. He doesn't even trust his vice president, who is running the country. Right? And Trump's going in hard here now. says, the Biden-Harris administration did not properly protect me, and I was forced to take a bullet for democracy. It was my great honor to do so. Here's a cringe picture of Kamala dancing because now that I've had to see it, you must see it.
That are happening in about 100 days. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very...
And by the way, this is what I was referencing, AOC's awesome comments. Seriously, roses and kudos to AOC. One of the first times I've heard you say something I've appreciated. It's never beneath me to take a moment and say thank you when maybe, hey, try some more normal stuff moving forward. Maybe we'll like you more. But Kim Cheatle was like, oh, yeah, we'll try to get your report in like 60 days or something. And AOC's like, let me just play it from the beginning. I didn't have that context when I switched clips.
Happening in about 100 days. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very important to understand that. This is not theater. This is not about jockeying. This is about the safety of some of the most highly targeted and valued targets internationally and domestically in the United States of America. So the idea that a report will be finalized in 60 days, let alone prior to any actionable decisions that would be made, is simply not acceptable. It has been 10 days since an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States, regardless of party. There need to be answers.
So, I mean, that was perfect. Thank you.
My first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter? Yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted that this is a terrible...
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or no?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest. Mr. My first question.
Kudos.
Both sides of the aisle.
Okay, I press pause. Kudos to Nancy Mace there. And AOC. Thank you to both of you. Sincerely appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Wrapping up, I think, geez, his Nimbus, my cat, is moving the laptop screen, rubbing his head on the you see that? Look, he's changing the angle on me. Buddy, come on. Please don't step on the okay, come on. He likes jumping on the desk, but then he tries to step on things. Am I even in the screen anymore? Am I in the shot? Oh, sort of. Here, let me sort of. All right, Nimbus. All right, you walking this way? Walk this way. There he goes. Okay. That's Nimbus, everybody. That's my research assistant. Okay, got this one here. Is this pulled up still? Let me check the thread. Okay, yes, Mike Johnson. Speaker Mike Johnson. Well, let's just listen to him in his own words, shall we?
Alone, it has never been more important than it is right now for us to stand with our closest ally in the Middle East and our traditional partner in all these things. And it is outrageous to me and inexcusable that, as the leader mentioned, that Kamala Harris is boycotting this joint session. This is an historic moment. It's an important moment for the country for all the reasons we've said. The gravity of the situation cannot be overstated. And yet, Kamala Harris will abandon her seat. As you all know, as the vice president and as serving as the president of the Senate, she is supposed to be seated next to me at the rostrum. She will not be there because she refuses to attend. She needs to be held accountable for that. She needs to be asked.
My buddy Nimbus is just being very affectionate right now. We do the headbutt thing like this. Aw, today's episode just turned super cute. Hi, bud. But he's like that Tootsie Roll Pop owl. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. 3. Because he'll give the nose kiss, but he'll also nibble. He also nibbles and bites. So you got to be careful with him. I did just get a comment, and I'm going to look for this one. Watch out, bud. Someone posted, according to a commenter, about Cheatle. And I'm going to do a quick search. Here we go. Okay, well, this is from yesterday. This is Benny Johnson saying that Cheatle must be charged and arrested. Somebody, yeah, according to a commenter, they were saying that Cheatle has been arrested. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm seeing this, but that's not accurate. Florentin Petroda says that Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle has been arrested. That's Alex Jones saying Cheatle and Secret Service agents following her orders need to be arrested. They need to be in prison. Okay, I'm seeing another one saying she was arrested. Hang on. I can't confirm any of this. These are not legitimate. These are not... oh my gosh, Nimbus, what are you doing, buddy? You just switched out of my feed. Okay, I think Nimbus wants dinner. So I'm going to wrap this up. Here, let me do the latest instead of the top ones. See if I get a different result. And I wish X could fix that. Okay, Real Raw News is reporting Cheatle arrested. Okay, I don't know that site. Can't confirm that. Sorry, like if this just happened while I'm talking, I need to make sure that I can't confirm that. Investigation. Why hasn't they been arrested? Why haven't they? Why hasn't she been? Okay, another one saying it. That's Real Raw News. It keeps coming to. Another one. Okay. I will say this. Thank you for the comment in the post here to show us that. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to navigate a couple different things. And a cat that's asking for dinner. I gotta go feed the cats. It's funny because I've rescued and adopted a lot of cats over the years. Did a trap neuter return on about 130 of them. 135, I think. And then got permanent homes and foster homes for 40. But I remember I was doing my Dynasty Fantasy Football League. I doing the draft. And they're all anxious. All right, draft. You got to draft. Good morning. You got to wake up and come on. You got 24 hours to draft, but let's get on it. And I woke up. I was like, hold on. Feeding my cats. Oh, and they all, oh, he's got to feed his cats. Always feeding his cats. And it turned into like some sort of big running joke. So I just changed the name of my Dynasty Football League team to Cats Gotta Eat. Cats with a Z. Cats Gotta Eat. Okay. Just the News reply, Montreal Mark saying, dang, I just heard Cheatle was arrested by military returning home after resigning. Wow, if true. That was in response to Just the News. Yeah, there's more of this, and there's more of the same. Cheatle's gone, but should be arrested, of course. Needs to be arrested with Mayorkas. Yes, I'm getting really tired of the obvious traitors, the obvious criminals in this country just getting away with everything. It's just infuriating. It's been 9 days and she didn't even visit the site. It took her 72 hours, allegedly, to call the people who were on the scene there. You couldn't have a less interested person. She looks completely disinterested in the fact that you had one job to protect the hen. And that fox took a bite out of your hen's ear. You are so lucky. What? What's this? Hold on. Is this from President Biden? No, hold on. That's not a blue check mark, is it? Is this really 35 million followers? Hold on a second. What's this one here? Hold on. Am I still even showing you this page anymore? I don't think I am. Sorry, I've been watching the wrong page. This is the problem with Restream. It needs to kind of find a way to show you. Okay, then let me pull it up real quick. We're unpacking this together, folks. That's what the news is in 2024. It's reporting on what other people are saying, and you're saying, okay, I have no idea if this is accurate. Let's try to unpack it or debunk it or confirm it. This looks like POTUS. Okay, that's 35 million followers. Sorry, I'm distracted, but who is POTUS following? Only 5 people? The White House, VP Kamala Harris, Jill Biden, Doug Emhoff. Oh, the second gentleman. Why didn't Kamala Harris take his name if they're married? La Casa Blanca. Huh? What is that? It's like a Spanish White House? What a weird 5th person to be following. Okay, well, this account that appears to be the 35.7 million follower account for @POTUS. I'm sorry, is Biden supposed to be texting this now? Are we supposed to believe he's back? Stronger than ever? Is that the story we're going with? The independent review to get to the bottom of what happened on J13 continues, and I look forward to assessing its conclusions. What are you going to assess? What are you going to assess? After you sicked Alvin Bragg, after you sicked Fannie Willis, after you sicked Judge Merchan on Donald Trump to lawfare him so that he could be kidnapped and thrown into a cage in conjunction, I think I got it right, Benny Thompson. I hope I'm not confusing him with the other guy. In conjunction with legislation put forth so that you could strip Secret Service protection from former presidents if they're convicted of kangaroo crimes and off him in prison. Oh, you certainly look forward to assessing conclusions on J13, don't you? This has the fingerprints of Biden, Obama, Clinton all over it. President Biden, former Vice President Biden continues. I don't ever want to call him a president. Whatever was done in 2020 to get him there, let history judge you harshly for what you've done. This account claiming to be Biden says what happened that day can never happen again. As we move forward, I wish Kim all the best, and I will plan to appoint a new director soon. Why would you wish Kim the best when she did the worst job imaginable? Unless you're saying thank you for trying. Okay, another one here. Jill and I are grateful to Director Cheatle for her decades of public service. Wow. Other than the ending, Mr. President, how did you like the play? No, Mrs. President. How does that go? It's about Lincoln. Talking to Mary Lincoln, Mary Todd Lincoln. Excuse me, First Lady. Other than the ending, how did you enjoy the play? Wow. Thanks for decades of public service leading to this huge monumental cluster. Biden, we especially thank her for answering the call to lead the Secret Service during my administration and are grateful for her service to our family. Are you thanking her for the hit on Trump? God, this isn't real life. This is not real life. And I don't believe that he wrote that. Who wrote that? Okay, so yes, lots of posts about Cheatle arrested. Let me just do one last refresh in latest to see if there's any confirmation from anyone I normally trust. Real Raw News keeps popping. Other news services. Oh, I didn't spell it wrong? Cheatle arrested? What? No, Cheatle. Maybe somebody named Cheatle just got arrested. Some other news services are suggesting that former directors arrested. Okay, I can't confirm that. Doesn't look legit yet. Real Raw News keeps being the one. U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division, CID, agents arrested former Secret Service Director Cheatle less than an hour after she resigned amid watch over her failure to prevent the assassination. Real Raw News. Okay, okay. Why hasn't the sheriff of Butler County arrested Cheatle for negligent manslaughter? Yes! There you go. Thank you. My God, I've got such tunnel vision on Trump. You keep forgetting there is a hero firefighter who was offed. Arrest Cheatle for negligent manslaughter. And bring in Chris Wray for questioning in the death of Corey Comparatone. Nay. State federal laws. Does the FBI take over the investigation? Okay, all I got is this Real Raw News, and I can't get any more confirmation. So, unfortunately, I cannot confirm that this has occurred. Lord help me, because I will go live immediately if/when I can confirm that. Because that is what needs to happen. Zero doubt about it. Yeah, in continuation of that conversation we were having with this Rickster, saying legacy media is dead and their reach and sphere of influence is tiny compared to the new media. Yes, liked and retweeted. Okay, wow, that was some almost potentially breaking news, so I had to stop and figure that one out. Dreamer asking, okay, let me see. Not verified, of course. There we go. How do you pivot from this guy is a dictator to we need to protect him? I just don't get it. That's a conundrum they find themselves in. And you know what? It couldn't be happening to any worse human beings. These Democrats, they made their bed, let them sleep in it. These people are just a scourge. They are just absolutely toxic to the United States of America. 9 years. It's one thing to say this guy sucks. Obama's got bad policies, and you could say, it's weird that you're releasing terrorists. It's weird that you're unfreezing money for Iran. It seems like you're a traitor to our country, like you're a Manchurian candidate. Okay, I mean, based on what was done, how do you conclude otherwise? Same with Biden. How can you conclude otherwise? But with Trump, they lied about a Russian tape. That was never correct, and they knew it to be incorrect. So they tried pushing extreme criticism based on fraudulent information. Oh, you're a Putin puppet. Putin got you elected. That never happened. Oh, Russia stole the documents for the DNC. No. That was your guy who was sick of you rigging the primaries. His name was Seth Rich. Say his name. Seth Rich. He didn't like that you rigged it against Bernie. So he told on you. That's called a whistleblower. And what did you do to him? Hillary, you had a private server in your closet accessed by all sorts of foreign countries with potentially nefarious purposes. What say you? Why did you use BleachBit to clean your hard drive? Clean my hard drive? You mean like with a cloth? But yeah, Dreamer, how do you pivot? How do you pivot from dictator to, he needs protection? This is stunning. But here's my promise to you. As soon as Cheatle is arrested and I'm available to do so, I will go live. I will go live to break it all down. But for now, I'm going to break down this set and get back to the rest of my day. I want to thank everyone for joining us here on the Agree to Disagree show with the New American Media. All the places to follow us: patreon.com/the New American Media. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee a month, $15 a month, which is the Netflix cost, or $17, $100 a month, or $1,000 a month. It's all appreciated because we really like to go to the Bundy Ranch, to Occupy LA, to the DNC in Philadelphia in 2016, to the RNC in Cleveland in 2016, to the RNC in Milwaukee this year, and maybe to Chicago this year. It takes funding and financing to do so. So if you are of means and you do appreciate what we do, consider signing up on Patreon to support us, or find us on Venmo at Brian Engelman. That's me, BrianEngelman. Also, our podcast is on Spotify. If you're not yet linked up with our podcast, please consider doing that so that you can listen to us on the go. Search the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify. Also, Rumble, the New American Media. We're getting so much more interaction and so many more views there than we have on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@the-new-American-media. Both important. I hope you subscribe to both. Right now, hit like and hit subscribe if you haven't on whatever platform you're watching us. Truth Social, we are there, the New American Media. X, we are at American_media_. On Telegram, at TNAM for the New American Media, at TNAM and TNAM Chat. On Facebook, we have a page, the New American Media, and if you search in groups, TNAM, you'll find TNAM Grow Something, TNAM Preparedness, TNAM Humor, TNAM Food and Drink. We have a lot of interests and we cover a lot. We put a lot of fun stuff out, but you just got to be joining us in the groups. They're private. But when you answer the question, how did you find our private group? Say Brian sent you, and we'll let you in. So yeah, find our Facebook page and our X feed. You can do that if you go to thenewamericanmedia.com. That is our main website. I have not updated it all that much in recent memory, but it is a good archive, I suppose. So consider checking that out. On the right-hand side of thenewamericanmedia.com, toward the bottom, it's got our Facebook page and it has our X feed. If you can't remember our call letters, at American_media_. Also, we have a page on Instagram, The New American Media. So I think that's all the places I'm going to try to ask you to join us for now. And I think that's all the news that we have to offer at the moment. So unfortunately, the Cheatle arrest story has been unverified, does not appear. But look, Laura Loomer's been reporting a lot of stuff, medical emergencies, and look what just happened. He didn't quite resign, but he dropped out of the 2024 race. Who knows what happened in Vegas? We're sifting through a million reports, trying to find verification as best we can. Put the asterisk and the caveat that we don't know everything and we never will. But we will never intentionally try to mislead you on a single story. Nobody pays us. Nobody pays us to lie specifically. I wouldn't lie to you for money because I think we're doing a public service here. And I enjoy what I do. And what I do is just trying to make sense of madness. And you, the commenters, the viewers, you are the reason I'm here. And you're also a collaborative aspect of the show. I think this might be Grateful Granddaughter's first appearance here. Hello, howdy. Thanks for joining us. Know that you interact with us on our X feed. Thank you for that. And welcome to the live show. This is awesome. I think this is the first time maybe it's not the first, but one of the first. But you could ask Dreamer Ultra. Dreamer's been around for, God, Dreamer, how long have you been watching? You've probably been on since, when did we launch our show last year? Maybe February? So we've been on for coming up on close to a year and a half. I feel like Dreamer, you've been there for most of the time. But as you know, Dreamer, and as you'll learn, Grateful Granddaughter, this is a I guess just a collaboration is probably the easiest way to describe that, a collaborative process. And that's what makes it fun for me. And that's what I appreciate so much is how you will send some stories and add some commentary and check this out or check that out. Look, even the fact that Cheatle arrest has been trending, that's important because there's a zeitgeist. There's a mood or feeling of the times. And sometimes when things start trending, when more people talk about them, we can speak some of these things into existence. We can manifest them through our intentions, our hopes, our prayers. Oh, I'm getting woo-woo on you, getting a little metaphysical, but you're damn right I am. What if this experience is just a video game and we have to pass? You know, we got to beat the final boss. Maybe not everything is very sword in the stone or slaying a dragon per se. But I do think when we exit this experience and show up on the other side, I think it's very possible that we are going to be given information to our creator. We will give information. They will download our eyes as our video cameras, our ears as the microphone. And we will kind of have to account for what we did in this video game, in this experience. And are we proud of who we are and what we did, or not? Did we try to do the right thing? Even if sometimes the thing that you thought was right turns out that maybe that wasn't, but you tried, your heart was in the right place, and you were constantly trying to recalibrate, thinking you knew what was accurate and what was inaccurate. I need to clip this thing from my conversation with John McAfee and put it up as a short. I really haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe since I had the interview with him. God, that was when was that? 16 during the election? It had to be 2016, I think. But I remember saying something to him that, look, I don't know how long they're going to let us keep the internet. Look at me lecturing the inventor. Please do what? What does please do? That would be awesome. What would be awesome? Oh, yes. For anyone commenting, just please try to put a full sentence together, because I'm on to I just juggle topics and I can't keep them organized. So I don't know exactly what you're responding to, but something would be awesome. And please do something. Oh, maybe you're saying to just put that clip out. But when I talked with him, yes, McAfee clips. Thank you. Okay. There. Gotcha. I said, talking to like the guy who created internet security and the guy who allegedly gave all sorts of people in Washington free iPads and computers, and then he spied on them, all free phones. We called John McAfee the most interesting man in the world. I mean, real interesting character. But I said to him, look, I don't know how long they're going to let us keep the internet. So I'm going to use my voice while I have it to try to make sense of this and warn people of danger and try to bring humanity to a better place in whatever role I can. I can't be everything to everyone, but I can be something to someone, hopefully. So what I told him was, in my next experience, if I have to answer to a supreme being, to a God who created me, and I have to kind of account for the DVR downloading of what I saw and what I heard and the experiences I was in, I go, ooh, you did not perform well there. And I go, geez, I forgot about that one. That was not my finest moment either. Oh, but I did this and I did that. I definitely remember trying this. I want to be able to look my creator in the eye and say, I tried. I tried real hard. I gave a lot of me. I gave a lot of who I was to try to pay it forward. They have a phrase that says, activism is the rent that you pay to live on Earth. Activism is the rent that you pay to live on Earth. And I like that one. I don't know. I've never really considered myself to be an activist, but maybe at the core of it, two things: an intense curiosity, because I want to know what's going on. They say ignorance is bliss. Well, yeah, maybe. Not to me. I am fascinated by what's going on. I really want to know what's happening. And then the other part, I really dislike being lied to, especially when it's important. So I take that stuff personally. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a long grind. We've been doing this for more than 13 years. More than 13 years. just out there with a machete, trying to make a path. Check out the other interview we just did at the RNC in Milwaukee, by the way, with CEO of Louder with Crowder, Gerald A. Morgan Jr. And I did thank him I thanked him off camera, but then I think I ended the interview. Check out that interview. It's on Spotify under the Agree to Disagree show, on Rumble, The New American Media, and YouTube, The New American Media. But if you find that interview with Gerald A. Morgan Jr., I told him I really appreciate the work that you guys have done here at Louder with Crowder. I said, you guys have been one of the biggest shows for several years. You have your half Asian lawyer. What's his name? Steven gives everyone nicknames, but like, you guys have been fighting fights against internet censorship for a long time. And I said, you've been out there hacking your way through the woods with a machete, but you've built a path. You've built a trail. And I said, you've never met us before till today, but we're following you. Now, that's not to say like I follow Crowder. I don't know. Yes, I do follow the show. And yes, I do think their cold intros are some of the funniest things. Like, if you could bottle that, take all the politics and current event stuff away and just do comedy based on current events, that show would be so much funnier than Saturday Night Live. But I said, you guys have been hacking a path. And I said, I don't know how many. I said hundreds or thousands of people like me who are pushing forward, trying to get through that censorship. And you've paved some way there. And maybe you don't even realize it. You probably do, but you probably don't spend too much time thinking about it. But you know what? It's next man up. And that was my biggest concern about Trump. Like, if he goes down, who's his team? Who's his cabinet? Who is he handing the torch to say, hey, when I'm gone next term, I want you to carry MAGA forward. Build your team. Announce your 30 cabinet members, lock arm in arm and go, you're not taking us all out. Number one, because we'll never be in the same room at the same time, but we're in this together. And so while Crowder and those guys do their own thing, the New American Media does our own thing, and whoever else is behind us, they do their own thing. We are in this together. We are traveling like those migrant caravans up through South and Central America to get into Eagle Pass or something. So thank you for that. But watch that interview. That was another good one. Check out those 3 interviews with Jim Hoft of Gateway Pundit from Milwaukee at the RNC. Our interview with Gerald A. Morgan Jr. from Louder with Crowder, their CEO, and Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler, who's doing amazing voter turnout work, just flipped the most important county in Philadelphia area from blue to red. These are important. These are all important things, and these are fun interviews that we had. And I hope that you check them out, like them, share them with your friends. Like I said, hit subscribe, hit like if you appreciate what we're doing. And I will sign out now saying I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Hope to be back on Thursday, maybe with Blake Wally. Maybe with Blake Wally live in studio. We shall see. All right, take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get some sunlight. Every day, make sure you're getting outside. Go for a walk. Work in the garden. Get that vitamin D. Take off your shoes and put them on the ground and just ground yourself. Actually, I haven't done that in so long. Maybe I'll do that today. Just remember, this digital world we're living in, we're communicating on, whether you're got an open laptop or a cell phone, there's only so many hours that you can stare at a screen. Get out into the real world, please. That is my ask of you. If you're not doing that enough, it does wonders for the soul, for the energy, for your immunity, for everything. And I will talk to you later. I think we're going to do a show tomorrow. I think we're going to try to do a show every single day. But just keep your eyes peeled for Rumble and YouTube and Spotify, because we have piles of interviews of Man on the Street that I still have to go through. From the Bronx, we didn't really get much from the Libertarian Convention. We did get the speeches from RFK Jr. and Trump. I don't think I even uploaded the Vivek Ramaswamy one. I'm telling you, it's been a chaotic month, and I'm a team of one. But stay tuned. A lot more content coming your way. And I believe that we will win. If you got to believe something, why not believe that we're going to win? Fake it till you make it, they say. All right. I'll talk to you later.